DIY terrarium. This project is super easy to make. I got all the items from Dollarama, which is super easy to find. You don't have to go to any fancy gardening store or anything. And again, it's super easy to make. So without further ado, let's get crafty. For today's project, we're gonna need sand, some rocks, plant of your liking. I'm gonna be using succulents, moss, some soil, and a glass container. I'm gonna be using this geometric terrarium. So we're gonna start layering our products. The first layer will be the sand. We're gonna start by pouring some sand into our containers. Just like this. Depending on how big is your container, you're gonna be pouring more or less of your layers. For example, this one is a little bit bigger than the Prisma one, so I put a little bit more sand. Once we have our sand in our containers, we're gonna proceed to put our second layer, which is our rocks. There are different type of rocks that you can find, so basically you just pick the ones that you like the most. I picked this kind of marble looking rocks because I thought they will look really good with our white sand. When building a terrarium, you can pick the color of your rocks as well as the color of your sand. I think these two pair really well together, so that's what I chose. Let's proceed to layer our rocks. Really carefully, we're gonna place the rocks on top of the sand, and I say carefully because we don't want them to sink. So I put my second layer, and just a quick tip, when you put your gravel, just put a little layer. You don't want to overdo it because otherwise all the water will just leak in it, and because it is rock, it doesn't absorb the water and it could create odors. The next step will be to put our moss. So start putting our moss in here, just a thin layer. When you're building a terrarium, it's really important that you see all your layers. It creates a terrarium effect and it's really cool. You can see each of the items that you put in. Because of the shape of this container, it was getting a little bit hard to put my fingers and create the layers. So I'm just going to be using regular tweezers to facilitate putting the layers. That was a little bit harder than I expected. The moss is difficult to work with, but with the twister, it worked out perfectly. The next layer is gonna be our soil. So I have it right over here. And I'm just gonna be using a small spoon to put my soil into the container because they're really small containers. If you're using a bigger container, you won't run into this problem. This is what we got so far. First layer of sand, second layer will be the rocks, then our moss, and lastly our soil. Once you have your layers like this, you're gonna proceed to put your plant. So I have all these succulents in a pot, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove it out of the pot and put them into my terrarium. So with this garden shovel, I'm gonna remove my succulent from the pot. When removing a plant, you have to be really careful to not break the root of the plant. So just don't force it a lot. Fill the plant and keep removing the soil. So you can see the succulent has a lot of babies, so we're gonna pull them apart. I took my succulents out of the pot and I'm gonna pick which one I think it will look best for our terrarium. And what you're gonna have to do is to make a small hole in the middle of the terrarium where you can plant the root of your succulent. And now I'm just gonna do the same onto my other container. So I ended up putting 2 little succulents in the Prisma and 3 into this one. This is pretty much done. The next step, if you want to, you can add some moss or rocks for decoration. So I'm gonna do that with mine. For decoration on this one, I decided I'm gonna put another layer of white sand on top and I'm gonna fill it up. This is how I decorated the gold one, and I think that for this black Prisma, I'm just gonna add a little bit of moss because it will go better with the colors of this terrarium. So there you have it guys, your DIY succulent terrarium. Now you just have to find a nice spot to place your terrarium and that's it. A little tip to take care of your terrarium: only water it every 2 to 3 weeks. You don't want to overwater it because you're gonna end up killing the succulents, and these are really easy plants to take care of. They barely need water, and you don't have to worry a lot about the sun or where to place them in your house. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit the bell button, leave me a comment, and if you want to follow me on my journey, I will link my other social media down below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys on the next video.